Hello, this is The Gaze, and you are welcome to the News Digest. Today in the episode, Feodosia oil depot keeps burning for 3 days in a row, and Russians can't stop further Ukrainian strikes. 7 more NATO countries will join PURL initiative to fund weapons for Ukraine. Test your drones in Ukraine and get training included. Ukraine's drone strategy. Being 1,400 kilometers from Ukraine, the Bashneft oil refinery was targeted on October 15 by Ukrainian Lutai Fury drones, seen on footages shot by local residents. The video shows drones flying in the sky over a populated area, as well as a plume of black smoke rising above the site of the strike. The Bashneft oil refinery has already been targeted by drones several times, most recently on October 11th, when it was hit by long-range drones of the Security Service of Ukraine. The city of Ufa is one of Russia's largest oil refining centers and supplies Russian occupiers with fuel and technical lubricants. On the night of October 15th, Ukrainian drones also targeted an oil refinery in the Russian city of Volgograd. A fire broke out. Meanwhile, the region's governor, Andrei Bosharov, claimed that the UAV attack was allegedly repelled. However, as can be seen, the oil refinery is quite not allegedly. The Ministry of Defense of the aggressor state confirms that its air defense systems had shot down 59 drones overnight. Well, obviously, not enough. Russia is ablaze. In Feodosia, in the temporarily occupied peninsula of Crimea, the fire that broke out after the drone attack on October 13th still hasn't been extinguished. According to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, 16 fuel tanks at the Feodosia Marine Oil Terminal, the ones that had survived the previous strike on October 6th, were successfully targeted on 13th. The oil terminal in Feodosia is a key logistics and supply hub for Russian troops for fuel and lubricants. The total volume of petroleum products that have been stored in these tanks is over 190,000 cubic meters. As seen, in recent months, Ukraine has intensified its drone and missile attacks on Russian oil refineries, pumping stations, and electrical substations, seeking to weaken Moscow's energy base that fuels its war effort. Satellite imagery, including data from views from above, shows large-scale fires and visible damage to equipment at several key facilities. According to reports from several Western media outlets, Ukraine's operations against Russian energy infrastructure are being conducted with the involvement of partner intelligence services. Publications such as the Financial Times note that the coordination and exchange of intelligence have enabled Kyiv to carry out deeper and more precise strikes inside Russian territory. In September and October, Kyiv reported successful attacks on major oil refineries in the cities of Kirish, Orsk, and Ufa. The strikes triggered large fires, damaged key processing lines, and significantly reduced Russia's refining capacity. The resulting disruption has created logistical and production challenges for Russia's oil industry and reduced the revenues that finance its military operations in Ukraine. The impact of Western sanctions has further complicated Moscow's ability to replace damaged components and equipment, deepening the strain on the energy sector. Consequently, fuel shortages have emerged in several Russian regions, prompting local authorities to limit fuel sales, including in the annexed Crimea, to just a few liters per customer. The tactic is working. Russia's seaborne exports of oil products in September alone dropped by 17% compared to August, according to industry sources and Reuters calculations. The reason is a decrease in fuel production, as a number of Russian oil refineries have been significantly damaged by drone attacks. Ross prioritized Ukraine requirements list, PURL program, as many as 7 countries will join it to purchase American weapons at the bloc's allies' expense for the needs of the Ukrainian armed forces.
PURL is the new program which we launched only in August. The program under which the United States again provides Ukraine with the necessary lethal and non-lethal military support, paid for by NATO allies, has already allocated over $2 billion, and I have every reason to believe that many other countries will join today. NATO, Secretary General Mark Rutte at NATO, a defense ministers meeting in Brussels,
The PURL mechanism is a joint U.S.-NATO program aimed at speeding up weapons deliveries to Ukraine. It is under this initiative that Kyiv compiles a list of its most urgent weapons needs and submits it to allies. Partners fund the purchase of U.S.-made weapons that meet these requests. The money is transferred to a special account within NATO. After that, the United States carries out direct arms deliveries to Ukraine. For now, it is known that Denmark allocated about 580 million Danish kroner for this program, Sweden $275 million, and Norway about $135 million. Previously, the Netherlands funded the first aid package within PURL for 500 million euros. Germany also joined the program. Here is footage, combat video from Niederrusin Yar, Kramatorsk sector, Donetsk region, showing what the Ukrainian army is capable of with simple FPV drones. A Russian armored assault is stopped. Russian forces have recently changed, or better said, changed back the tactics, switching from waves of infantry back to armored assault attempts in several areas of the front line. On Wednesday, October 15th, 2025, the United Kingdom and Germany will convene the meeting of Contact Group on Defense Issues of Ukraine at NATO headquarters, the so-called Ramstein format. In a shortcut to what PURL and Ramstein are all about, Mr. Secretary of War has put it in a most straightforward way.
Great to be here, and Mark mentioned it, firepower. That's what is coming, we expect and is coming from NATO. And it was a historic summit just a couple of months ago, brought about by leadership of President Trump to say we need our allies to step up. And they did, and they have, in those commitments. Now those commitments will soon translate into capabilities, which is the most important aspect of it.
Mini death machines, homegrown labs, and boot camp pilots, all born in a country at war, with hundreds of drone schools, dozens of manufacturers, and thousands of trained operators. Ukraine is becoming a global force in unmanned tech. Now, Ukrainian experts are teaming up with Europe to take this revolution even further. More in our exclusive story for you.
Ukraine is building a new drone technology ecosystem. According to the Minister of Digital Transformation, the market is growing fast. Dozens of manufacturers, private schools, and training centers are appearing.
We are turning into a defense tech valley. This could become a new national profession, something we will be useful for after the war, a sector that will raise our GDP and that we will develop further.
Drone work is now permanent in specialized units. One such unit is the separate detachment Lasars Group. Their tasks are reconnaissance, surveillance, and precision strikes.
After each sortie, a pilot draws conclusions. He analyzes how the battlefield changes, what suppression the enemy uses, what tactics they apply. On the next flight, the pilot acts differently. This lets us run large operations, score big successes, and hit lots of enemy equipment.
In some units, drones are now a primary tactical weapon. For example, the Rayrog Regiment not only uses drones, but also develops tactics for them.
We don't talk much about our work. We show it by what we do. Our priority is effectiveness. If we set a goal to eliminate a certain number of enemy personnel, we do it. That is our best praise and achievement.
Drone operation requires training. Courses last from a few days to several weeks, depending on the platform. Training runs in many units, including the 3rd Assault Brigade.
The Academy has about 4,000 students graduated in just over a year. About 30% have joined the Defense Forces and another 30% moved into the armed forces from other sectors. Our courses cover ground robotic systems, fixed-wing and FPV drones, piloting and engineering.
Drone pilot courses mix theory and practice, from setup to real flight tasks. Schools teach theory, use simulators, and run flights on open ranges under experienced instructors.
Training time is roughly the same for complete beginners and those with some experience. The difference is that instructors must find the right approach for someone with no prior skills. That is our main task.
According to the Ministry of Digital Transformation, hundreds of UAV schools, dozens of manufacturers, and thousands of operators already work in Ukraine. Drone production in Ukraine has grown 100-fold. Now Kyiv is ready to share its experience with European countries. In Denmark, Ukrainian specialists began exercises on countering strike UAVs. Poland also receives Ukrainian help in training military and engineers on counter-drone measures. Additionally, Ukraine and Norway are launching a €20 million program to develop Ukrainian and Norwegian defense technologies. Yulia Bil, Vadim Dmitriev, from Lviv, UATV News.
That's all for today. Thanks for standing with Ukraine. Don't forget to subscribe and stay with The Gaze for more stories and insights from a Ukrainian perspective. See you next time.